Hey guys, welcome back to Boost Hunter Garage. Today I just want to make a little video introducing my truck, which I call Slam Piece, and kind of talk about what's been done with it and where I kind of want to go with it. So it's a 98 second gen 12 valve Cummins with the NV 4500 transmission, so the 5-speed, and it's a 2-wheel drive truck. Basically it was a farm truck before until I got it, and I daily drove it for a while, about a year and a half I think it was, and then it's been sitting for a bit. I'd done a bit of stuff to it, and basically the clutch couldn't hold what was doing to it, nothing real that crazy, but so I decided to just kind of start working on it, start tearing it apart, and started with some of the body work here because it was rusting a little bad, so I wanted to get a lot of that cleaned up and before it got out of control. So I'll start with that and kind of show you the body here and what I've done there. So as you can see, I've got the hood sanded down for the most part, and you can probably, I don't know if you can fully tell in the camera, but lots of different hail damage and dips in it. So started sanding all that down. Same with, if you can see, the roof here was pretty bad, so a lot of that's been sanded down. I still got more work to do with all of this. And then what the plan is to just get it all body worked. Like I'm gonna body fill it all, get it sanded out. So that'll be my first time doing that kind of stuff. So it'll be a learning curve there, and get that sanded out and then primed. And I'm probably just gonna clear coat it from there, because the plan is to wrap this truck. I'd love to get it painted, but not necessarily in the budget. So I'd rather put that into the motor. So I'm gonna attempt to wrap it myself and figure that all out. I'm sure there'll be some wasted material there and a few choice words for it, but we'll hopefully get her done and get this truck looking a lot cleaner. And also the tailgate was really bad, which you can't really see right now. Got my little buddy in here, so I can't have the door open. As you can see in the box here, I gutted the inside layer of the box out. And what my plan is to make some sort of lighter panel here, either out of aluminum or Lexan, to cover this back end, and we can just wrap that so it looks clean with some quick connects, because I plan to put the batteries and anything I can move from up front to back here to get more weight back and just make the under the hood a lot cleaner, easier to work on the engine. So yeah, then plan on kind of making panels for that just to clean this all up. That back, the tailgate was kind of smashed up, so that's why I decided to cut that out. And as much weight as I can cut out of this truck and lighten it up is the goal, because we do want to start racing this truck. So yeah, and you can see the startings of a stack here for it. Kind of hard to see, but just two halves we got bent up, and I got to weld that all the two halves together, and we're gonna cut it and miter it, all that kind of stuff. So eventually we'll show that. And earlier this year, I had the box off for a bit, but it's kind of hard to see kind of the whole back half of the frame. I wire wheeled and flapper discs and got as much rust off as I could and cleaned it up, and then just got a good primer on there and just good old rattle can black spray paint on there for now, because eventually we'll get probably be changing lots of this out. I'd like to eventually go to a 4-link, but that'll probably be quite a ways down the road. So for now, probably gonna put some coilovers in the back, move both them onto the backs of the axle. We have a little more control back here. Maybe do some ladder bars or something there to hopefully keep this axle in place and try get some traction out of this 2-wheel drive truck. So that's kind of the plan with the outside here. And I guess also I never mentioned, I want to weld these in, and also the fuel door on that side, we're gonna close that up and just kind of smooth out the whole truck as much as possible. And the block doesn't have tons of rust, but there's a few little places we'll fix up on this, and then kind of the same plan, obviously body fill it and get it primed up and cleared, and we'll get it wrapped up. All right, so now we'll get to the interior here, or what is left of it. Basically, everything's been taken out of it for now. Just trying to clean things up. And when I pulled the carpet back a bit there, I guess you can see the rust there. There was a compressor underneath the seat to run the bags in the back, and the line wasn't fully sealed around it and got moisture underneath the carpet and rusted that out. So I've cut that out and repaired it a bit. It's kind of ugly, but it's done. And so probably most of this is going to stay out. I plan probably to just paint this all nice, and probably to use like bed liner here, and maybe got a bit more weight out of here if I can, but I still want everything to look nice and clean. And the dash is going to stay, but we'll kind of do some things. I want to kind of move the gauges around and move my AFC Live box maybe up in the dash here a bit. And we're going to mess around with this shifter, maybe try bend a new one, try make it so we can shift a little faster instead of rowing with that thing. And yeah, we're gonna, with the door here, I kind of been slowly marking out, but gonna gut this all out, but still be able to use the windows and everything functional. Getting rid of all the speakers out of it, and then just gonna make a nice clean panel for that. It's pretty dusty in here just from all the cutting and grinding, and this nice headliner, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, the floral pattern, that's probably going to be getting pulled out of there. And maybe one day eventually there'll be a cage in here. We'll get to that. Hopefully fab that ourselves, but we got a long ways till we're going to be needing that. All right, now on to the best part. For the most part right now, the engine is basically stock. It's just had a few things done to it, which is 7mm delivery valves in the P pump, and it also has 3K governor springs in it, which I do have 4Ks for it, and I'm going to put those in, but also would like to bump that up to 5Ks. It has AFC Live, which I showed you on the inside there, so it has the modifications on the AFC housing, which controls the fuel for the P pump. And actually really impressed with that. Picked up a decent amount of power with all that stuff though right now, but nothing compared to what we are aiming for. I'd like to eventually have this truck around 800 plus to the wheels on fuel, and possibly hit it with some spray and take it over 1,000 maybe, but we're a long ways from that. Obviously got to do an engine build before we get that crazy with it being stock. We'll probably start on the top end first. It's not going to all happen at once, so we'll slowly pick away. So obviously have to change the valve springs with doing the bigger governor springs. We're going to obviously do head studs, firing, push rods, and eventually go cam. And I'd like to put a 6-7 crank in this maybe one day when we get that far and do the bottom end and make this a stroker. I think that'd be pretty cool to eventually do. And for turbos, looking to probably do compounds. I debated doing a big single setup, but I think with it being a manual truck, we need the boost to come in a lot quicker. So I'll probably go with that and plan on doing all the turbo piping and fab myself and figure that all out. And as far as the transmission, already right now it's slipping on the stock clutch when you try to really get into it. So you can't really enjoy the extra power it's making. I'd like to get a triple disc clutch in there eventually, kind of leaning towards a Valair clutch. And definitely got to go through the transmission. I'd like to attempt to do that myself and just get it cracked open this winter and kind of figure out if what's worn in it. The truck does have around 275,000 kilometers on it. So I'd like to go through that so we can start actually driving this thing and getting used to it. And so it can handle some power once we start throwing it at it. But yeah, that's kind of the goals for now. And I guess I should mention, I want to try clean up underneath the engine bay here as much as possible, move like the batteries to the back and anything I can just to make it more accessible to work on this. Gonna get rid of the stock fans and go to electric fans. And yeah, I'll see, probably upgrade the intercooler, things like that. Well, it was a pretty quick overview, but I could honestly ramble on and on about this truck. I've built it many times in my head, had so many different ideas, but you're just gonna have to follow along to see where this truck goes and when we get a little more in depth with it. But the overall goal for the truck is to get it lightened up so we can get it out racing, and eventually I'd like to beat the stick shift diesel record, but we're a long ways off from that. But that's our goal to head towards and slowly work towards, get a bit faster and faster. So hit that subscribe button and that like button and follow along. Thank you for watching.